Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Outside of Life, where it's all about how you can turn your creative passion into a profession. My name is Eva, and my guest today is a fine and digital artist from one of my most favorite cities in Europe, Barcelona. From a very young age, she knew that she wanted to be an artist when she will grow up. After completing her degree in fine arts, she started to learn digital art, matte painting, and concept art, which enabled her to work on a variety of projects, such as books and music album covers, concept art for video games, and marketing illustrations for a client like Blizzard and Deep Silver. Her style could be described as a game of light and color, which gives way to colorful and painterly illustrations. She is most known for her paintings of strong female characters. She has won the Imaginefix Rising Stars Award and Expo Manga Best Spanish Illustrator too. Her work has appeared in many art books such as Digital Art Masters, Exotic, Sketching from Imagination, and Prime Books. In the last 7 years, she published 4 art books, and only recently she embarked on a full-time freelance journey. So please welcome Marta Nael, and let's get to the interview. So welcome everyone to the next episode of Outside of Life, and I'm super happy to have my guest here, Marta Nael. Hi!
Hi, thanks for inviting me.
How are you?
I'm fine, a bit nervous, but I'm okay.
Good. But let's start with your background, and maybe you can share some of your stories from childhood when you were being creative for the first time.
I think I've been painting as far back as I can recall, like since I was 5 years old. And my parents were talking to one of my teachers, and he told them that maybe they should enroll me to an art school after classes. So there I started to paint with oils and charcoal and pastels. And I think it was, yeah, how I started. That is where my love for art started.
Yeah.
And I was quite, I don't know, confident in what I wanted to be as a grown up. So I was saying all the time, yeah, I want to study fine arts, I want to be an artist. And I think maybe most of the people thought it was like something that would change in time. But yeah, I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Wow,
So
so
yeah,
you already knew when you were a kid, like, okay, this is what I want to do.
yeah, I don't know. Some people said that maybe I couldn't do a living with that, but I don't know, I'm seeing all the stuff in films and video games. I want to do that too. And yeah, I finally went to fine arts college, and after that I started having my first commissions, and I started to work for a Spanish publisher, and yeah, that's it.
So how did you do it for first, maybe how did you choose the school? Like, was it in your area or someone advised you to go to that school?
In I was living in Barcelona back then, and there was fine arts university. So I don't know, I didn't know if there were many other options, and I thought that maybe we would be doing a bit of traditional and digital, but it ended up being just traditional. So I was a bit like disappointed with that, but I don't know. It was great because I had some professors that introduced me in some sort of light and color process that I really enjoyed, and it was great.
So did you find kind of your art style or the things you do in your artworks already in a college, or like it was later on?
As I was mentioning, there was a professor that introduced me into this kind of light and color process, and we were asked to paint some life models, and we had to create some sort of abstract foundation first, and then we had to paint over it and also erase some parts to get the paper color back. And it was really interesting because you had to achieve that in a really short time and paint with light and color mainly, not using like some line sketch. So it really made me like who today in terms of style. And when I was finishing my fine arts degree, I started to try a bit of digital painting and trying to take all that I had learned during college into digital. So it was really helpful.
Ah, cool. And do you have like favorite colors you use when you start your like foundation painting, and or you try to
I
vary?
I usually use turquoise mainly. I don't know why, or some kind of neutral color, but it's mainly turquoise or maybe some sort of I don't know, pale orange, but it's not really saturated because if not, then I get a bit lost with all these colors. It has to be some kind of neutral color.
And do you have like some special way to organize the colors? Because you have a lot of colors in your
Yeah.
paintings. So is it something that you use, I don't know, cold colors on the light and the warmer colors on shadows, or how do you
Yeah,
do that?
I usually try to choose some either cold and warm colors for shadows and lights, just trying to keep it like more balanced. Because if otherwise, if you just use warms for lights or cold colors for shadows, it would be like a bit, I don't know, the harmony of the painting, the colorants would be a bit lost. And also I try to choose like some accent color that stands out from the rest, like to keep it the point of interest in the whole composition.
Yeah, yeah.
So bit of that.
Ah, cool. Do you still work with live models, or now you also draw more from your head, like the poses and portraits and expressions?
I try to look for some references on the internet and also take some pictures of myself, especially for the light. Like if I had to do a woman doing this, then I'm with my phone with the light, doing this and taking some shots on my laptop. So it's really funny, but yeah. So yeah, I have like a second screen where I put all my references while painting.
Ah, cool, cool. So, for example, if you want to paint like character with the long hair, you have a reference for hair, for light,
Yeah,
maybe for color or something.
yeah,
Ah,
that's it.
ah,
Yeah.
perfect. And when you mentioned some of your professors from the college, do you think that was like the most influential mentor you had, or did you had other mentors or someone who inspired you?
It was mainly one professor, but I had also another woman which was really influential in me. Like, I think she was like somehow really friend with the other one, so they had kind of the same style. And yeah, I think both were really important in my while being at college.
And what would you think was like the best advice you ever received?
Maybe it's the same. I always try to tell people like work, 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 and when you think you have to, I don't know, give up, just work again and try to achieve what you want and try to be critic with yourself, but still try to be humble. So I mean, you have to believe in yourself, but you have to be humble. So it's a bit of both. You have the perfect balance.
Yeah, perfect, definitely. And what about the like the worst advice? Have you ever received something like which maybe you change opinion later about, or you see like this is like given to young artists nowadays, and you're like, ah, that doesn't really, yeah, no.
Yeah, I think it depends. Some people think that maybe you don't have to use references, for example. Others think that you have to use them in order to know how to use anatomy and light. So I don't think there's a bad advice. It depends on the way you want to paint, or maybe how stylized you want your paintings to be. So maybe if you want to paint some comic art, you need to do it more like in your head because you have to achieve some sort of really difficult points of view that are not real.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I don't think it's. I've never had any bad advice, but
yeah.
I try to get a bit of everything that like the different things people tell me. I try to learn from everything just as possible.
And when you were learning, also, did you study other artists as well, just for learning purposes, or not really? It was more the real life world.
We did a bit of both. I mean, it's always interesting to study the old masters and do some studies from their work. And but we also went outside and painted like plein air,
Yeah.
some landscapes, and yeah, it was great that too.
And do you have some recommendations for the old school artists, like really like old masters, which are your favorite, maybe?
There's a Spanish artist called Sorolla, which is kind of impressionism style, using like color and light in a way that I really love. I also love Turner for the same feeling of that mood, full of color, but still somehow loose style.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, those two are my favorites.
Ah, cool. Yeah, I think I actually visited some museums when I was in Spain as well. I was like, oh yeah, this looks really beautiful. So yeah, we will
Yeah,
put
so
it in the
maybe
show
it
notes.
was him.
Yeah, I think so. Now I don't remember the name, but I'm pretty sure that was it. But yeah. And do you have some favorite books as well, which you would recommend for young artists to check out?
I really like James Gurney Light and Color book because it's really helpful when you want to start painting and you're a bit lost with light and color.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really love that book.
Yeah, yeah. I also like read it and I was like, oh, that's actually good. But yeah, so that's really interesting. And what is like the main inspiration? What do you have? Like, is it from real life, or do you have maybe something strange which inspires you as well?
I think everything that surrounds me kind of inspires me because maybe I'm just, I don't know, walking down the street and then I see some sort of light that it's really interesting. So maybe I just use my phone and do some shot, or maybe while I'm seeing some series or just a movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I get really inspired and I have to go back home and then paint something, or while reading a book. Fantasy and sci-fi movies, especially, are what really inspired me the most. But it could be like anything.
And when you mentioned like the movies or books, is it more the story moment, or it's a like layout, or it's the color and light setting?
It depends on, I don't know, if I'm reading something and then the writer explains something really like moody in a way. So yeah, I can get inspired by that, or just well, when I'm watching a movie, maybe that scene, some sort of movie still that looks really interesting in terms of composition or
Mm-hmm.
maybe light or color.
Ah,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, yeah, because it's like seems like a lot of artists are watching as well movies for inspiration and just like,
Yeah.
oh, this layout is really good, so you have like an inspiration for like a pose as well and like this beam
Yeah.
of light or something.
Yeah, it could be everything.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that. And if you imagine now someone who wants to start and do what you do now, what would you advise them to start with? Maybe like tools and mediums or like a course?
I usually say that you should start with traditional media
Mm-hmm.
because it's, I don't know, but it's like you should learn how to use that technique, maybe like pencil or charcoal, oil, acrylics, and then once you're quite comfortable with that, you can go to switch to digital
Mm-hmm.
because it's another technique, but I think that you should start with traditional.
Yeah.
It's like everyone started with that. So, and I know some kids that want to learn digital because they think, oh, this is cool, but maybe they get lost with the, I don't know, the brushes that are different. And if you don't have like really I don't know how to say that, but really traditional feeling
Mm-hmm.
brushes, it may look like really artificial. So it's better to start with traditional and do some live model, go outside and paint, and
Yeah.
then once you know anatomy and light and color composition, perspective, everything, then you can switch to digital.
Yeah. Yeah. And you use also like a different media, right? You use like acrylics, then you have a pastel and pencils. Do you
Yeah.
have like a favorite medium or also maybe favorite brand of like pencil or something you use? Like, okay, this is
Yeah.
the one to go to.
Yeah, I have some fluor pastels and acrylics. And when I discovered them, I was like, oh my God, those are so super cool because it's like painting with digital where you can have any color.
Hmm.
Because when you paint with traditional media, sometimes it's like, oh, colors look so, I don't know, like dark and
Hmm.
not like so vibrant as when you're painting with digital.
Yeah.
So I found those and I was like, yeah, I'm going to use that. So yeah, those are
So,
my favorites.
so what was the favorite brand you use now?
I can't remember the name. I don't know if it's Vallejo maybe. I don't know what, or also Rembrandt are really like good pastels, but I can remember those floor ones.
Hmm.
I can remember right now the brand.
So maybe we can put it afterwards in a show notes.
Yeah,
So
sure,
yeah,
sure. I'm gonna check it. Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, because it's always nice to try different brands and different materials to find out which one you actually like.
Yeah.
And so actually this is really interesting because you moved from traditional to digital and your digital paintings look really realistic like traditional wise. So how did you find your brushes in like Photoshop, or did you create them by yourself, or how do you get that feel of traditional media?
I am mostly there from other artists that have shared their brushes, like Dan Luis's brushes,
Hmm.
I think, and also Levi Peterfy brushes. And they were really, when I downloaded them, they had that kind of charcoal feeling, like pastel and really texture. So I really loved them, and I was like, okay, I'm going to use them like from now on. And when people ask me about my brushes, I usually just say, yeah, just download from these artists.
Hmm.
And
Oh, good, good. Yeah, because and then you tried it out and then you can adjust it to your feel and how you want to use it.
yeah, sometimes I change like the color things that make I don't know how it's called, but there's an option in Photoshop where you can get like some color, but if the pressure is different, then you have another color too. So it's kind of really interesting.
Ah, yeah, so it takes like a foreground and background color of the brush, I
Yeah,
think.
that
Yes.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I have to try that one as well. Perfect.
And also, I have some brushes which are like some paint splatters, and it looks like really you've been using painting, real painting. So yeah,
Yeah, and then
it's
you kind of add that at the end just to have the painterly feel or along the way as well.
no, just along the way. I try to keep it quite sketchy all along the way because if I keep painting over it, maybe I lose that kind of freshness. So
Hmm.
I just try to keep it quite, yeah, sketchy all the way. Like doing some really thick strokes to start and then maybe some thinner ones, but just, yeah, trying to keep it like that.
And when you are creating your artwork, do you already have like a color in mind, or is it just organic more along the way?
I think I have color in mind, some
Yeah.
color scheme in mind, yeah. And sometimes I just try to add some little palette while I'm painting, like saying I'm going to use these colors, and this would be the accent color that would stand out from the rest. And according to that, then I choose the neutral color I start with,
Ah,
because maybe if I want to use like red or pink for the accent color, then I think, okay, the complementary color is green, so I'm gonna use like a neutral green for the background, and then I'm gonna use like both green and maybe another color for shadows, and then some light green for the rest. But I'm trying to keep that red for the important part.
ah, perfect. Yeah, that's really interesting because some people as well just put these colors in the corner, so you can always like use the color
Yeah,
picker to
just
take
like
it
that.
out.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that.
Ah, nice, nice. And when you think about your brand or your vision in your artworks, what would you say it's your like art style or something you kind of always communicate through your artworks?
I really don't know, but I try to make the face like the most important part. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the rest maybe it's more sketchy, but when it comes to the face, I try to add some more detail and try to make like the eyes quite, I don't know, like they're telling something, or maybe the mouth, depending on the head. And I usually try to do like some sort of femme fatale woman,
Mm-hmm.
like they're kind of tough girls and independent girls. So yeah, maybe it's more like that.
Yeah, yeah. Ah, yeah, that's definitely true because most of your characters are these like strong female characters with
Yeah,
some background story and yeah.
yeah.
Perfect. And so when you are like you have so many artworks. So how do you design your day, or how do you manage to do everything? And so how does maybe your normal day look like? If you can like take us through that.
I usually start by replying my emails, and then maybe I have like half an hour where I'm just browsing through internet like ArtStation or DeviantArt looking for some inspiration. And or maybe social media too. And then, well, if I'm working on one commission, then I'm painting that commission. And maybe if I get like too stuck in at one point, then I'm just switching to traditional media and doing some sketches. And then once I'm back to digital, I don't know, since you've been like away from your painting, then you see it different. And maybe if you were stuck, then you can keep working on it, and it's better like that.
Yeah, so do you like working on more projects at the same time so you can go back and forth and see, or do you like to like finish one and then move to the next one?
I think it depends on the project, because some projects can be like, I don't know, you find the perfect composition quite easily and then you just paint and it's quite easy. But others, it's like you get stuck and you're just trying the composition over and over again and you're stuck, and then it's better to change to another one. So it depends.
And so what are the most exciting projects you are working on now, or something which is coming up in the future, something you can share already?
I'm working on several commissions for some video games companies right now. Since
Cool.
I just went freelance like last week, so yeah, I'm trying to, I don't know, to work on as many projects as possible, and also I have like some personal IP I would like to develop a bit. Like it's like been in my mind for so many years, but I've never had the time to do it. So now that I'm freelance, maybe I can just try to balance commissions with personal work, and yeah, try to want to.
So do you want to do more books, or do you want to do a movie, or you don't know yet what kind of form of the IP will it be?
It'd be like a novel, like graphic novel. So trying to, maybe some paintings and concept art, but also some writing, like trying to explain how the world looks like and the several characters too. So I love writing too. So yeah, I think it would have maybe both things.
Oh, that's perfect. I'm looking forward.
Oh, thank you.
And so when you are like not in LA, as a lot of filmmaking and creating novels people, so how do you do your networking? Because some people expect that you have to be in the center of filmmaking. And how
Yeah.
do you find your new paid project?
I think I've been quite lucky so far, because I try to share my work on, I mean, everywhere on social media, our station, DeviantArt, everywhere. So I get contacted by people. Like I get so many emails every day, like saying I want this commission. So for me, it's quite easy so far, because it's like just share your work and then people will find you through internet. It's if it wasn't if we couldn't use internet, then I would be like, oh my god, I don't have I don't have commissions, so I never got it to do. But most of my commissions are from the US, so yeah, it's just basically social media, internet, which helps.
And how long did it take, like from maybe when you finished the uni and then when you got like first commissions, or how many followers did you have when you started to get more commissions?
I don't know. I just was finishing college and I started to upload things on DeviantArt, and I think DeviantArt was really a nice platform for you to help artists. So I got my first commissions when I was uploading my first works while being at college. So yeah,
So cool.
and
So that was a good transition.
yeah, and then I moved to Facebook too, and I think it depends on the moment, because back a few years back, DeviantArt was like the best place to upload your artworks. Then Facebook became really popular, and everyone was there. But now people are using Instagram and ArtStation, so yeah, it's like you have to be like developing, evolving, and then using different social media. So yeah.
Yeah. So it's like everywhere. So where can people find you what is the best place where you are the most active?
I try to be active like everywhere, like and on Facebook, Instagram, or Station now since a few months, and also I have a YouTube channel now, which like I mean I think it's been like 3 months or so since I uploaded my first video there. So yeah, maybe if it has to be like more professional way, maybe in our station, and if they want to be like more interested in some sketches and such, maybe on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah.
And are you considering also Twitch, maybe, if you are not there yet, or Patreon, or all these
Yeah,
pages?
I've never tried those. I know some people use Patreon and Twitch, but I kind of feel like I'm not comfortable enough when speaking like in front of people or doing some videos. So I know people use Twitch like to do some paintings and record them and show them in real time. So maybe I would get so nervous. So maybe in time.
Maybe you can start with like Instagram or Facebook stories, so
Yeah,
like
I
live, right?
did that. I did that like when I was at a Comic Con some months ago.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That was my first time, and it was really great because people were so nice and telling you, I love your work" and all that. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. So maybe yeah, I should try it.
I think people would appreciate it because really, like, your sketches are just amazing. So it's really great to,
Thank you.
watch, and it's like, oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to record some of my sketches now and upload them to YouTube. So yeah, maybe the next step would be like trying to do some Twitch thing.
Yeah, definitely. And when you mentioned the Comic Con, so do you go for different conventions like over the year, or it's like only this one you go to?
I usually go to Barcelona and Madrid comic and manga cons, and sometimes also to Alicante and different places in Spain.
Hmm. And in Alicante, is it called also Comic Con, or it's something else?
They have both Comic Con and Manga Con too.
Ah, okay. That one I haven't like tried yet. So, oh, okay. Good concept. So, is there like a lot of artists, or it's more also just a cosplay and animation, or how does?
I think it's mainly merchandising, but people are trying to change that and try to make it more like a books thing, an artist thing. So there's like an artist alley, and you can find several artists there. So yeah, I think it's getting better in that way. Yeah.
And have you tried I heard about this one in Porto, the Trojan horse. That's
Yeah,
also.
I'm going to be
Yeah.
like Trojan Horse next week. It's next week.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so you go there as well. I should go next year because it was sold out when I was like
Oh,
checking out
really?
this year. Yeah. So you.
Yeah, well, I was at IFCC in Croatia some months back. I was a speaker there, and I really enjoyed I don't know, it was a really cozy ambient with all the artists and talking to people you admired, and you meet someone that admires you, and you're like, oh my God, this is so great. And yeah, meeting people from all over the world. So it was really, really nice. And then I had some friends that are going to THU. And they were, yeah, you should go, you should go. So yeah, finally they convinced me, and I'm going there.
And what was the name for the one in Croatia you mentioned?
IFCC.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that one I haven't been to either.
You should go.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is on my list. This.
It's really great.
Yeah, because it's hard to choose like which is like in your area, maybe the price, or
Yeah,
all of that. Yeah.
the price. And also, I would say like IFCC is more like relaxed, and THU looks like more like strict or with a really scheduled thing. So maybe it's depending on what you're after. If you want something more relaxed, maybe go to IFCC. If you want to network a lot, then go to THU maybe. I don't know. I have never been there, but I want to. I think that's what people told me about them. So
Okay, I'm curious to hear later on.
yeah.
Or see, I will follow online like what's happening. And when we mentioned the festivals and projects, so how do you choose maybe which projects to do? Because sometimes we cannot do everything at the same time. So what is going on maybe in your head when you have to say no, or do you say no to projects sometimes?
I think it depends. Firstly, on what I'm most, I don't know, drawn to do. I mean, if someone is like paint my children, it's like, oh, it's not really interesting. As if someone says just paint this woman, imagine it's a, I don't know, a sorceress, like I don't know, something more appealing to paint. And but sometimes I have to say no to that. So those projects that I wrote, I don't feel like really attracted to them. And but it depends also on the money. So it's a bit of finding that balance that you feel like really like you're going to enjoy that, but also the money they pay. So a bit of those things.
Yeah, yeah. So something which fits more your style, like when you did the cover for Imagine FX, right? That was a
Yeah,
sorcerer, so it kind of fits
yeah,
the
that was
colors.
really great. Yeah, and especially because it was a tutorial on light and color, so it was like really my thing, and I really enjoyed that.
I think actually that was the first artwork I saw from you.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I was like, I really like that, and then I found out like, oh, okay, so that's you. Good.
Oh, thank you.
So we can also put the link to that. So yeah, people
Yeah,
can check
sure.
it out. Perfect. And so now you mentioned also that you do freelance. So how do you split your income? Is it like mainly from freelance, or do you also sell artworks and then you have the books, or is it important for you to split through different channels, or how do you do that?
Yeah, since I just started being freelance, I have to still figure it out. But I think I would do like as you said, try to split it and use and have income from both prints and commissions, and also maybe doing some tutorials and sell them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it would be better, and maybe just also teaching like online and doing some courses and yeah, a bit of everything.
And do you already know where would you like to do the course? Maybe on your website or through like Udemy or other teaching platforms, or what is your
I
plan?
think people use Gumroad mostly, but I don't know. I would like to have like my own store and have everything together
Mm-hmm.
because I think for the customer it's easier if you have everything all together. Maybe if even if you have your own store, maybe there's some links that send you elsewhere, but I would
Yeah.
like to have everything together.
Yeah, yeah, and also when you have it on your own, then you don't have to pay a commission. So it depends.
Yeah,
Yeah, if someone wants to start, then if you have a following, then you can start on your own. If you don't, then maybe you can start on the bigger platforms to create
yeah,
the followings.
that's it.
Ah, cool, cool. And so we talked about also these projects, and now I'm wondering also about the motivation. If you have sometimes like down days, or like up, how do you keep yourself motivated?
Yeah, it can be really hard sometimes because maybe you're just feeling a bit, I don't know, sad or tired, and then you have to paint, and then you lose your motivation because you see you're stuck, and you're like, oh my God, how am I gonna paint this? Because there's a deadline and I can't finish it. And I tried, I don't know, I tried just as I said, if I'm just stuck at some point, then I try to change and do some traditional thing, and then go back to that. But or maybe just, I don't know, just browse the internet and just try to find some pieces that really inspire me from my favorite artists. Yeah, but I
Ah,
mean, it's kind of difficult because it's not something really like maths. I mean, like 2 plus 2 is 4, so it's like it has to be like that. Because I mean, art is really complicated because it depends on how you feel too.
mhm.
But I try to, yeah, I try to cope with that
Do
in a
you have
way.
also like the moody drawings, when you have like I don't know, like sad or like dark mood or whatever, would you paint something more blue and dark, or not really?
I don't know. Maybe it's quite the opposite because I just try to use lots of colors. I don't know, but I was kind of used to using really neon light colors, and then I had some commissions a few months back, and they were like really dark
Hmm.
and like out of my comfort zone, and it was really great because I had to try to use like less saturated colors, darker ones, and I really enjoyed that too. So I
Yes.
think, yeah, it's like you have to try to develop your style, and I think maybe that's what really helps you just to keep your motivation, just doing different things, even if they're in your own style. So
Yeah,
maybe,
so like a different things, and see how it goes for you, and yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and so also actually when you mentioned that you went for a like classic fine art school, what do you think now, like because you have so many options how to study, would you still go to this like classical brick school, or would you maybe study online if you would like start over?
I don't know because I would say that fine arts was a bit of both things. I mean, it was really helpful in some aspects, like as I mentioned, that professor was really helpful in a
Mm-hmm.
way. But I also found that some professors were only interested in like I don't know, doing like broke this and break this and just some rubbish and sculpture things that are like, yeah, really weird things. And I was a bit shocked at first because I was like, maybe I shouldn't be here and go to, I don't know, another place which is like more digital stuff or what I really wanted to learn. But I don't know, it was, in a way, I think you have to get to know everything and see how the art world is. So yeah, when I was there, I wanted to study like more painting and all that. And then when I was there and I saw that everyone was interested more in abstract art,
Mm-hmm.
I went to the drawing classes where I did all that life model thing,
Yeah.
and I know some digital schools now in Barcelona which are really good. So maybe I would try that instead of going to fine arts. But I don't know. I don't say I would change a thing. It was really helpful, even if I had some bad moments there. So.
Yeah. And what would you say maybe what kind of the most difficult moment or the worst moment of your career so far, and kind of what you learned from it?
Well, I don't know. What do you mean?
Like if you had like a difficult time, like, oh, I wasn't sure what I'm doing, or I couldn't find a job or something, what was, like hard for you, and what you learned from it, like a key takeaway.
Yeah, well, as I was mentioning, that part where I was like starting my degree, it was a bit, yeah, a bit disappointing.
Hmm.
But since I found that the other professor, then everything came out really, really well. And also maybe when I was starting my first commissions, because I didn't know where I wanted to go. I mean, I was like doing some matte painting. I was doing some realistic painting, also some more sketchy art. So I wasn't sure about my style,
Hmm.
and also since I was starting, I didn't know how much I should. I mean, earn from my commissions
Hmm.
and my rates and all that. So it would be helpful, I don't know, just that someone tells you have to do this and you have to ask for this money and all that, and or maybe you're better at this, so just do some of these illustrations in that style. So
Hmm.
I was a bit lost at first, but since I think nowadays you have like a lot of possibilities to show your art on social media and such.
Hmm.
So people, you can see people reaction and you can see what people love the most. And when I started doing all that colorful thing, people was like, "Oh, this is different." I was like, "Yeah, people seem to love that, so I'm going to keep doing that."
Ah, yeah, okay. That's really interesting point as well. Just post stuff, even though when you are not comfortable at the beginning, but you get some feedback, so you see what you should improve or
Yeah,
what do you want to learn next. Yeah,
yeah.
it's really interesting. And so, is there something you wish you knew before starting out, like before everything?
I don't know because I've always been like a really hardworking person. Even if I was like lost at some point, I tried to keep painting. So I would just say that even if you at some point don't know how to, I don't know, how where to go, if you want to do like more digital, more traditional, or maybe concept art, and you're not sure, maybe just keep trying and keep drawing every day,
Hmm.
and things will get better, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've always been trying to, I don't know, just to, I don't know how to say that, but maybe just trying to be into everything. So maybe don't have to specialize, but try everything and then see what you really enjoy the most too,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
and just paint every day, like 8 hours or more a day.
Yeah, that's a lot, and a lot of people think like, oh, maybe it's not necessary to paint every day, and so
Yeah,
you practice every day.
yeah. I kind of lost some sort of motivation at some point
Hmm.
because since it's not only your hobby, it's your work.
Hmm.
Like you're at some point you feel like I'm painting all the time, painting all, and you're not doing it because you want to, because you have to. So um, I had that sort of, yeah, bad moment, but And finally, I was like, okay, I have to go back to that feeling where I was just painting for pleasure and try to do more personal things too, because I was less like only doing commissions or just doing work.
Yeah.
And when I got home, I was like, I don't want to paint. I don't want to see anything related to art. I just want to, I don't know, watch some movies or whatever. And now I think that I'm really motivated for this new freelance life, for example. So, and I don't mind if I spend like 12 hours or 15 hours painting a day, because it's like I can do some commissions, and then when I'm done with that, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep painting on this personal piece I was painting yesterday and still feel really motivated. So I think that's a really important thing.
Yeah. And do you have a studio now at home, or do you have to travel somewhere?
I'm at home right now, and I'm trying to make it like some kind of studio here in my apartment.
You can paint there, and you have all the materials and everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
and also I have my cat around, so it's nice being here painting with the cat.
Yes, definitely, especially when you paint and then the cat comes and lie on it.
Yeah, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna sit here in your hand, and you're not going to paint. But but he's adorable, so you feel like, okay, just move, and now I'm going to paint when you're done.
And do you have maybe some tool or something you bought which simplifies your life, like a special, I don't know, a light table or a tablet you use, or something which like, okay, this is like making my life so easy?
I would say like having a second screen is really helpful, because I usually work on a small laptop. So when I have lots of references, it's like I can paint with all those things on the screen. So having the second one is really great, because I use just the laptop one to have the painting, and then the other one to have all the references, and that's really helpful.
Ah, so you don't use Cintiq or like some of these
No.
like screen tablets? And do you have like an Intuos, or how do you paint?
Yeah, it's an Intuos one, a small one.
Mm-hmm. Ah, okay. So then you have a laptop, so you can travel with it somewhere as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's convenient. Yeah, because sometimes it's like, okay, so should I use an iPad, or should I use like the computer with tablet, or what is the best?
Like I'm having a MacBook Pro, and I think it's like the best size, because you can work at home, but you can also take it everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. And let's talk about future. And where would you kind of see yourself in like 5 to 10 years? What would be kind of your dream scenario? Like, this is like everything is working out for me, and I cannot fail, and everything is great.
I think maybe it would be like being still freelance, but working for, I don't know, major films or some video games or card games, and having like, I don't know, some commissions each month related to that kind of thing. Like, I don't know, like working for Wizards of the Coast or something like that. Like, I've always wanted to work there, or at some, I don't know, video games companies like Riot or that, being freelance. And yeah, that would be great.
It sounds good. And what about like super, super far future, like 100 years? And what would you like to be remembered for?
Oh, I don't know. I've never thought of that.
It's like a deep question.
It's like too far away. Yeah. I don't know. I wish that the way I try to use light and color, maybe it's helpful for other people, and maybe they can learn something from it. I don't know. I've done several tutorials on art. I mean, on light and color, and trying to choose vibrant color schemes. So maybe that would be helpful to people. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes. And before we say goodbye, you can maybe share some like key takeaway or advice for young artists. And I'm super happy that you took time and like be here.
I'm quite repetitive, but I always say the same: work, and work, and never give up, and try to achieve your dreams. And but keep it like being humble, and I think that if you work and never give up, you're going to achieve your dreams. So it's all about working every day and painting every day.
Yeah, just continue to follow your dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And thank you so much for being here again. It was so fun.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure, definitely. And thanks everyone for joining, and see you in the next episode. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and let me know in comments. Also, please subscribe to my channel for more videos because I post new interview every single workday. You can also find the resources mentioned in this episode at artsideoflife.com. Just type a guest name in the search bar. There is also a little freebie waiting for you, so go check it out. If you want to listen to the interviews on the go, make sure to check out the podcast episodes at artsideoflife.com/podcast. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and don't forget to inspire each other. I will see you guys in the next episode.